Shalom, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, before we get this epistle started, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to our beloved Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son, our beloved Lord and Savior, YAHAWAH, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Harachak Wadash. Double honors as always to our apostles and our elders of Great Millstone, who rule well, who teach well, who we learn the truth from daily, whether you're here for bear, and a sincere salutations as always to the rest of the hopeful elected nation of Israel, which consists of the sincere elders and Akim of Great Millstone, and the Akim on down that teach the likewise doctrine, the sincere Akim that are believers who rehearse the righteous acts of Yahweh Bashmial Shai, the speckled bird Hebrews like foreigners scattered among the heathen that look like the heathen, and the sincere Aquathium of the nation of Israel, which is to say the sincere sisters of the nation of Israel, listening in silence and meekness as the scriptures command to do so. And this right here is going to be an epistle that's a land back off of the video done by the beloved Elder Crafty from GMS Baltimore, and he was getting into once again these Edomites. They got a video going out trying to disprove the the skin tone of the true biblical Hebrew Israelites. Now, those of us that have been called into this knowledge and this truth, we understand that our forefathers, the true biblical Hebrew Israelites, originally started off as a swarthy people. Okay, just like all of the other nations, with the exception of being the Edomites, which would be the self-proclaimed so-called white people today. All right, they're actually the red Hebrew Edomites. But the point is, I wanted to get into a little resource that I found earlier this morning. All right, I don't know if it's new or not to Akim, but for edification purposes, I'll put it in this video. So, getting into this whole thing about how they try to link Esau and King David's skin complexion, I wanted to get the book of 1 Samuel chapter 16 and verse 12. And it reads, the subheading says, David anointed. And it reads, and he sent and brought him in. Now he was ruddy and withal of a beautiful countenance, and goodly to look to. And the Lord Yahweh said, arise, anoint him, for this is he. Okay, now let's get the translation comparison. One of the other translations I like to go to is the NLT. So 1 Samuel chapter 16, verse 12 in the NLT, and it reads, so Jesse sent for him. He was dark and handsome, with beautiful eyes. And the Lord said, this is the one, anoint him. Okay? And when you get it in the Hebrew, the Lashwan Kodash, the word that they have put right here. Okay, let me see if I can get it. Okay. Get right to it at ruddy. Okay. So they have the Hebrew word Strong's H132. Okay, where we have the the da, the ma, the na, and the ya. So admanya. Okay, and they try to say it in the Yiddish talking about some admoni, but it's admanya, the way it would be pronounced if you're going by how the characters is written right here. Outline the biblical usage, red ruddy of Esau as an infant. Okay, now when you get into Esau's actual name in the Hebrew, Adawam, that means red, as you would expect red to be. But when you get into ruddy, that goes deeper. They try to say it's about hair and all this other stuff, but no, it's not. Okay, that's off. Now, let me go ahead and get what I found, the resource that I found, which is the Textus Receptus Bibles.com. Okay, and with this right here, it gets into the Great Bible of 1539. And as we know, that year, the 1500s, a lot of different things happened. For example, in the year 1524, John Giorgio Trissino, he invented the letter J, okay, which is a modified form of the letter I. But, that's one thing that happened, which is why we get all of these different J names, so forth and so on. And why, if you get into these older texts, you'll see a lot of different names where the J would be, you see an I. For example, right here in Exodus chapter 1, I'll read it right here in this in the Great Bible, 1539 translation. And this is why, it's Old English and stuff like that. It's kind of like different, Old Germanic, so forth and so on. And it reads, Exodus chapter 1, verse 1, these are the names of the children of Israel which came to Egypt with Jacob. And as you see right here, it has the I, so it would be Jacob. Every man came with his household. Reuben, Simeon, Levi, and Eudah. Okay, just getting that for a quick example. But the point is right here, going to the same precept I read earlier, 1 Samuel chapter 16, verse 12, in the Great Bible of 1539 translation. And this is going back into King David being anointed once again. And it reads, it'll be right here, the top verse, 1 Samuel chapter 16, verse 12. And he sent and brought him in, and he was brown, of an excellent beauty, and well favored in sight. And the Lord said, arise and anoint him, for this is he. Therefore Samuel took the horn with the ointment and anointed him in the midst of his brethren. And the Spirit of the Lord came upon David from that day forward. And Samuel rose up and went to Ramah. Okay? So when you see this, you have to ask yourself, okay, so what's real? Is King David red like Esau, or is he brown? Is he dark? And the answer is pretty straightforward. King David, yes, he was of a dark skin complexion, like all of the 12 tribes were initially. Okay. Now, due to the scattering and the fact that we always dealt with women of different nations, we come in different shades of brown. Okay, and some of us don't even look like the typical Israelite anymore, which is why we constantly get into the speckled bird Israelite foreigner. Okay, now there's still Israelites, they just don't have the outward appearance. But the point is, yes, for all intents and purposes, the true biblical Hebrew Israelites started off originally as a dark-skinned people. Now, wherever the man lays his seed, okay, that may change the appearance of the child, but that child is still an Israelite, whether it be a son or a daughter. As long as the father is an Israelite from one of the 12 tribes, that child is an Israelite. Okay? So this point right here is to say that, look, these Edomites, they'll use every little trick in the book they can to try to throw you off the path. This is why the scripture says, okay, let me go ahead and get it. 2 Timothy chapter 2. Verse 15, and it reads, study to shew thyself approved unto the Most High YAHAWAH, a workman that needeth not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. Okay? And one may say, okay, well, that doesn't prove anything. All right, well, let's get into the book of Exodus. It's a few color precepts we can get. I'm going to see how the Textus Receptus Bibles.com with the Great Bible Translation gets it. Okay? So, okay, Exodus chapter 4, verse 6, and it reads, and the Lord Yahweh said furthermore unto him, put now thy hand into thy bosom. And he put his hand into his bosom, and when he took it out, behold, his hand was leprous as snow. And he said, put thine hand into thy bosom again. And he put his hand into his bosom again, and it plucked it out of his bosom, and behold, it was turned again as his other flesh. And this is talking about Mashah, who the world calls Moses, okay? The man that the Heavenly Father Yahweh chose to give us his law. Okay, now let me get this once again in the NLT. So, all right, there we go. That's what I needed. So I got a parallel here. Boom. So, Exodus chapter 4, I'll start at verse 5 this time. Exodus chapter 4, verse 5 in the NLT, and it reads, perform this sign, the Lord told him. Then they will believe that the Lord Yahweh, the God of their ancestors, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, really has appeared to you. Then the Lord Yahweh said to Mashah, now put your hand inside your cloak. Salaki. So Mashah put his hand inside his cloak, and when he took it out again, his hand was white as snow with a severe skin disease. This also confirms that, yes, leprosy is a skin disease. It's a curse that Yahawah puts on people, okay? Now, we had in our laws about leprosy, okay, we had clean lepers and unclean lepers. Those that were unclean, okay, they would have to be separated from the camp so it wouldn't spread to other individuals. All right, and those that were clean, for example, the Edomites, they're clean lepers. Their entire body is leprous, okay, but it doesn't spread. Just to get into a few brief points about leprosy, according to the scriptures, thus saith the Lord. Reading on, Exodus chapter 4, verse 7 in the NLT. Now put your hand back into your cloak, the Lord Yahweh said. So Mashah put his hand back in, And when he took it, so like when he took it out again, it was healthy as the rest of his body. This also lets you know that having dark skin, ruddy skin is healthy. Okay, that's normal. What's not normal is to look like how the Edomites look. Okay, that's the Heavenly Father letting you know that. And this isn't a slight to any of our brothers and sisters of the nation of Israel that are more of a paler skin complexion. Okay, because in the kingdom, all right, since we'll all be perfect, you know, and even right here on this side, you justified by Yahweh Shai. It's not about the outward appearance, you know. But this is just to say that when it comes to the Edomites trying to spread the lie that having paler skin is a sign of beauty. No, look, everybody can like what they like, but in the eyes of Yahweh Shai, he's letting us know that leprosy, okay, that's a form of punishment. Okay. There's more benefits that come with having darker skin than it is from having paler skin. But in the kingdom, those of our nation that don't have the darker skin complexion, obviously the Lord, you know, not obviously, but we believe this through faith, but the Lord will likely, you know, line upon line, precept upon precept, if we'll be perfect, we'll have our skin tone back. Those of us that, you know, have, you know, whatever different skin conditions or ailments, bodily ailments, internal or external, the Lord will make us whole. All right. So it's not even, you know, that's why one of the many reasons why we don't get hung up on skin tone. But for the sake of edification and understanding of the scriptures, we got to bring these things out because Esau, Edom, the self-proclaimed so-called white man, the red Hebrew Edomite, that old serpent called the devil and Satan the Bible speaks of, he's made it his mission to do a number on our people psychologically, spiritually, as well as physically. Okay, so if we can break you down at every single point, he will. He will. That's how a serpent moves. He's subtle. He's more wiser than any beast of the field. He knows what pressure points to hit. He knows that Jake, if he can make Jake insecure about something that he can't help, okay, then Jake, his head won't be in the game. That's why it's important to remind our people, all right, that look, the Lord himself, the Heavenly Father, the Ancient of Days himself would have the appearance of a so-called dark-skinned man if he was to appear. Our Lord Yahweh Shai, his only begotten son, like he told the disciple Philip, who later became an apostle, he said, if you've seen me, you've seen the Father. So our Lord Yahweh Shai, he looked just like his father. Lets you know also that the greatest men and women in history, all right, would be so-called dark-skinned people. All right, all 12 tribes of Israel. And even if they don't have that appearance now, they're still Israelites, and that's what matters. Now let me go ahead and get this once again in this translation. Exodus chapter 4. Let's see what it says. Exodus chapter 4, verse 5 in the Great Bible translation, and it reads, for this thing, saith he, shall they believe thee, that the Lord God of their fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, hath appeared unto thee. And the Lord said furthermore unto him, thrust thine hand into thy bosom. And he thrust his hand into his bosom. And when he took it out again, behold, his hand was leprous, even as snow. And he said, put thine hand into thy bosom again. And when he put his hand into his bosom again, and plucked it out of his bosom, and behold, it was turned again as his other flesh. Okay, so it says pretty much the same thing it says in the KJV, but we understand with context, all right? The beloved prophet Mashah, he was of the tribe of Levi, so today he would be a so-called Haitian, all right? And Haitians today typically have a darker, the darker skin look, okay? Now, not every single Levite has that look, of course, because once again, the speckled bird, and, you know, it's all about where the father puts the seed at. You know, whatever woman the father deals with, that can determine the physical appearance of the child. But the point is, back then, our people predominantly had that swarthy look because the great scattering hadn't happened yet. And on top of that, we were around the Egyptians, who were also a dark-skinned people, but they weren't the chosen people. So if the men of our nation lay with the Egyptian women, the children would come out looking dark-skinned. Whatever phenotypes they had, meaning facial features and stuff like that, for all intents and purposes, one way or the other, they would still be dark-skinned because both the Israelites and the Egyptians were dark-skinned. That's why we have accounts in the scriptures where our people were mistaken for Egyptians. Okay? And all 12 of the patriarchs, this lets you know that all 12 of the patriarchs before our great scattering, they were all dark-skinned individuals. They all had that darker skin complexion, because when the Canaanites saw our people and the Egyptians mourning for Jacob when he passed away, they called the place Abel Matazarium, because they said this is a great day of mourning for the Egyptians. They assumed that everybody that was in company there mourning for Jacob was Egyptians because of, we look similar, but we're not the same people. All right. What else did I have? It was another precept. Okay. I'm trying to make it as quick as I can. Just try to hit the points. Numbers chapter 19, verse 1, and the point is in verse 2. And it reads, And the Lord Yahawah spake unto Mashah and Aharon, saying, This is the ordinance of the law which the Lord Yahawah hath commanded, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, that they bring thee a red heifer without spot, wherein is no blemish, and upon which never came yoke. And ye shall give it unto Eleazar the priest, that he may bring her forth without the camp, and one shall slay her before his face, and Eleazar the priest shall take of her blood with his finger, and sprinkle of her blood directly before the tabernacle of the congregation 7 times. And one shall burn the heifer in his sight, her skin and her flesh and her blood, with her dung shall he burn. And the priest shall take cedar wood and hyssop and scarlet, and cast it into the midst of the burning of the heifer. Okay. Now, the point of this is, once again, like our elders and apostles have said, and elders on down have said, the Heavenly Father, Yahawah, Ba'ashem Yahushua, he was always very particular in how he wanted certain ceremonial rites to be performed, and how he wanted himself to be worshipped. Okay. So, keeping this in mind, you would have to know specifically what he means by red. Okay. Let's get this word for red right here and see what it says this time. Red is Strong's H122. And we have the the da, and we have the ma. So Adam. Outline of biblical usage: red, ruddy, of man, horse, heifer, garment, water, lentils. Okay, they try to say, what is this, rosy, which, that's, once again, Esau just being fucking weak. And you got red right here, a red heifer. We know, okay, try to say red pottage, red heifer, red is blood. Wherefore art thou red in thine apparel? Red horse. Okay. Red horses. All right. Now, let's go back to red. And get it in the Hebrew Chaldee lexicon. So, Adam, Adam. Okay, there we go. So, right here, if I can zoom in, let me see. It says, reading it from, here we go. We have Adawam and Adam. They try to put them both together. But Adawam means just red. When you think about a red highlighter or, Esau's skin complexion, that's what that is, Adawam. Which is why the word Edom is actually Adawam when you get it in the Hebrew. Okay, then you have Adam. It says adjective. We have the the da, the ma, and the ha. So Adama, and that would be Adam's actual name, Adama, which means ground or from the ground. Okay, and when you get into soil, okay, soil, when you see the richest soil is always darker in color. Okay, and that's why right there it lets you know that the true biblical Hebrew Israelites, once again, are a dark-skinned people, as well as our forefathers, which would be Adam, the Adamites, the sons of God, and the Hebrews, so forth and so on. Okay, all the way down to the Hebrew Israelites today. Plural, Adamium, of the form of Quatala or Quatal, frequently used in the names of, okay. But the point that I wanted to get right here was where it says, of a chestnut or bay horse, of red heifer, what is red, redness, lentils. Okay. Now for those, even if you've had lentils, okay, there's times where the lentils it has a little bit of tinge of red in it. It also looks brown, but the point is chestnut or bay horse. What color do we know chestnut to be? Brown. So why do you keep seeing the overlap between the colors of brown and red? Because once again, when this word was originally used before Esau, even the devil that the Bible speaks of, and devil means deceiver, and he's doing a great job of deceiving 2/3 of our people and the rest of the world. When you typically used to see that word before Esau got into it, it would denote a brown, it would denote a shade of brown that has red undertones. Okay? Like, for example, there's certain brothers and sisters right now of the nation of Israel that have that brown skin tone with like the red features. They, they would be called, red bone, so forth and so on. All right, so that would basically get into that ruddy that's being referred to. But this is why you got to get into the Hebrew and the Greek, because just because you see the word red, that doesn't mean it doesn't mean that that highlighter shade of red, or that red that Esau has where his blood shows forth through his skin, that because he has a lack of melanin or no melanin at all. No, this is talking about what it's talking about. Yes, it does denote the actual biblical Hebrew Israelites being a darker skinned people. Now let me see Song of Songs 1 and 5. So this is Song of Solomon. Okay, chapter 1 verse 5, and it reads, I am black but comely, O ye daughters of Jerusalem, as the tents of Kedar, as the curtains of Solomon. Now let's get it in the NLT. Song of Solomon, chapter 1 verse 5, and it reads, I am dark but beautiful, O women of Jerusalem, dark as the tents of Kedar, dark as the curtains of Solomon's tent. Now let's see the word used for black. Okay, so shachar. We have the Strong's 878:38, and we have the Shah, the Cha, and the Ra. So shachar, outline of biblical usage, black. Okay. What else is here? Shachar from Strong's 878:35, properly dusky, but also absolutely jetty, black. The Wadi YAHAWAH Shem Yahushua. So this is also a cut to when we keep seeing these pieces of media on YouTube and these clowns doing videos about King Solomon and he's looking like a damn pale Edomite. No, King Solomon was from the tribe of Judah. He was a dark-skinned man. All right, his father, King David, was described as being ruddy, which was, a form of brown, and King Solomon himself was a form of brown. Okay. Now it has shachar or shachwar, adjective, black, used of hair. Leviticus chapter 13 verse 31 to 37. A horse. Zechariah 6:2 verse 6. Blackish color of the face. Okay. Now let's see what it says in the Great Bible Translation, if it has it. Song of Solomon chapter 1 verse 5, and it reads, I am black, O ye daughters of Jerusalem, like the tents of the Cadarenes, and as the hangings of Solomon. Let's get verse 6 right here. But yet I am fair and well favored with all, meaning I'm dark skinned, but I look good. All right, that's one thing that Jake is known for. All right, typically this is another little small way that we can distinguish ourselves from Hamites. Now we have brothers and sisters that look like Hamites because they've been scattered amongst the Hamites. But typically when you get into actual Israelites, when we have darker skin, we're known for being more, we have a more clear complexion. And I remember, I forgot which elder said it, but Esau used to call us, back in slavery, used to call us shines. Because, our countenance, our face would always shine. Even when we was in our native land, Jake would always anoint themselves with oil, so forth and so on. And, even here we have a more clear complexion than the Hamites. The Hamites are dark skinned too, but they look more, as Jake would say, they look more dusty and crusty and ashy, But Jake typically has, a more clear complexion. And this gets into that. When you see ruddy, it's definitely referring to that right there, because our people, yes, we're dark skinned, but we're not just dark and boom. No, we're dark and we have a certain glow about us as well. Okay. And in the kingdom of heaven, that glow is going to be exponentially magnified. Now, let me see if I can get it. Song of Solomon, chapter 1, verse 6 in the Great Bible Translation. But yet I am fair and well favored withal. Marvel not at me that I am so black. For why? The sun hath shined upon me. My mother's children had evil will at me. They made me the keeper of the vineyards, but mine own vineyards have I not kept. Right. So the point right here that I'm trying to get is King Solomon is describing himself as a so-called dark-skinned man. And his father, King David, was described as a dark-skinned man. As a matter of fact, let me get that real quick while it's fresh in my mind. First Samuel chapter 17. And this is going to get into David's encounter with Goliath. Where is it at? I think it was 20. Nah, it's further down. Okay. Here we go. So, First Samuel chapter 17, verse 42, and it reads, "And when the Philistine looked upon David," so like when the Philistine looked about and saw David, Salakia, and he disdained him, for he was but young and well favored, and goodly to look upon. All right. So once again, this is the same translation that just mentioned King David as being brown. And the Philistines, if you get into them, the Philistines are Hamites, which would be so-called Africans. And like I just said, the Hamites, they typically don't have that same glow to their skin that Jake does. All people on the planet Earth were once dark-skinned people, except for the Edomites. That's why when Jake had to flee into different lands, they would go into the land of Ham, because we would be mistaken for Egyptians, so forth and so on. All right? But typically, Jake has a certain glow about their skin, and Jake is known for that ruddy complexion. And I forgot which article it was, but it said our people, it said a ruddy skin complexion was valued amongst the dark-skinned Hebrews. All right. Now, let me see if I can get this in the blue letter. First Samuel chapter 17, going to verse 42. Okay. And it reads, I'll start at verse 41. "And the Philistine came on and drew near unto David, and the man that bare the shield went before him. And when the Philistine looked about and saw David, he disdained him, for he was but a youth, and ruddy, and of a fair countenance." Let's get it in NLT. First Samuel chapter 17, verse 41 in NLT. "Goliath walked out toward David with his shield bearer ahead of him, sneering in contempt at this ruddy-faced boy." Okay. Now, once again, it's already been proven that King David being ruddy does not mean he was the same as Esau, even though the Strong's Concordance has implanted this, false definition right here, which is why Elder Apostle Harvey says the blue letter goes off. It hits the point, but then it goes off. And this is why you got to have the Holy Spirit to navigate it, because at face value, all right, a nigga that just don't got the spirit, he'll basically sit right there and believe that our King David was looking like Esau. Now, it's not to say that the skin tone would have made him not an Israelite, but for edification purposes and for being able to prove all things and hold fast to that which is good, we got to prove that King David was not of the same complexion as an Edomite. All right. Now, let me see if I can go to it. What else did I have? It was, Salakia. Lamentations chapter 4. When it gets into the Nazarites. Here we go. This is talking about our people. Lamentations chapter 4. I'll start at verse 1 and jump around through the spirit, and it reads, "How is the gold become dim? How is the most fine gold changed? The stones of the sanctuary are poured out in the top of every street. The precious sons of Zion, comparable to fine gold, how are they esteemed as earthen pitchers, the work of the hands of the potter?" Okay. Now let's go down to it. Okay. Verse 6. Lamentations chapter 4, verse 6. "For the punishment of the iniquity of the daughter of my people is greater than the punishment of the sin of Sodom, that was overthrown in a moment, and no hand stayed on her." Right. And first point I wanted to make was, this is the prophet Jeremiah speaking. This is the book of Lamentations of Jeremiah. And who was his people? The Israelites. Jeremiah himself, he was of the southern kingdom. He was of the tribe of Levi. All right. Because in the book of Jeremiah, the first chapter, it says that Jeremiah, he was born as the son of Hilkiah, one of the priests of Anathoth. And we know that the first covenant, the priests were Levites. But the point is, his people were Israelites. So this is definitely line upon line, precept upon precept, talking about Israelites. And he's saying that our punishment was worse than Sodom and Gomorrah's punishment because, yeah, there's fates worse than death. Sodom and Gomorrah was completely destroyed. But our people, we've been subject to captivity, you know, being born and reincarnated into captivity after captivity, going off, being in the flesh, and succumbing to the will of the flesh, which is, you know, sin. All right. It's like the works of the flesh. Now, here's the point, verse 7. Her Nazarites were purer than snow. They were whiter than milk. They were more ruddy in body than rubies. Their polishing was of sapphire. Okay? Now, let's get in the NLT. Lamentations 4, verse 7 in the NLT. Our princes once glowed with health, brighter than snow, whiter than milk. Their faces were ruddy as rubies, their appearance like fine jewels. Okay? Now, when you get into both of those jewels, the rubies and the sapphires, they're both darker jewels. Okay? We know a ruby to be on the red end of the spectrum, a sapphire to be on the blue end of the spectrum. But both of these jewels have darker aspects to them as well. Especially when you look at a ruby. And right here where it says they were purer than snow, whiter than milk, you may feel like it's a contradiction, but it's not actually talking about at that point it's not talking about their skin complexion. It's talking about the glow that they had, which is why in the NLT it says our princes once glowed with health, brighter than snow and whiter than milk, because both of those things, snow and milk, are known for, you know, it's the brightest, white is the brightest color on the spectrum. Okay, but when you're metaphorically likening something unto it, white is associated with purity, which is why we keep saying the so-called white man. Esau is not spiritually pure nor morally pure. He's the wicked that the Bible speaks of. And having pale skin, actual pale skin, was a mark of it was the mark of Cain. Okay? That was the mark that the Heavenly Father Yahawah put on Cain for murdering his brother Abel, so that people would know that he's a vagabond. Okay, so this isn't saying that our people had that same skin tone. All right, now we can because of the scattering. And if an Israelite man has a child with the Edomite woman, the children come out looking like Edomites, they're still Israelites. Okay. Lamentations chapter 4, verse 8 in the KJV. Their visage is blacker than a coal. They are not known in the streets. Their skin cleaveth to their bones. It is withered. It has become like a stick. Now, once again in the NLT, Lamentations chapter 4, verse 8. But now their faces are blacker than soot. No one recognizes them in the streets. Their skin sticks to their bones. It is as dry and hard as wood. Right, now let's get that word for black. Visage blacker than a coal. First, I'm going to get visage. So we have the Hebrew word Strong's H8389. We have the tha, the ah, and the ra. So tha'ar, outline of biblical usage, shape, form, outline, figure, appearance. Strong's definitions, tha'ar, from Strong's H8388, outline, i.e. figure or appearance, beautiful, comely, countenance, fair, favored, form, goodly, resemble, visage. So this is definitely talking about your actual physical appearance of how you look. This is not metaphorical. No, they can be metaphorical. There can be certain adjectives used to describe how you look, but it's still talking about how you actually look. It's not talking about your personality and this and that. No, it's talking about how you actually look. So Hebrew Chaldee Lexicon says tha'ar with suffix tha'arwa for tha'arwa, tha'aram, form of body. 1 Samuel chapter 28, verse 14, Lamentations chapter 4, verse 8. Beautiful of form, commonly used of persons. Genesis chapter 29, verse 17, Genesis chapter 39, verse 6, and of animals. Genesis chapter 47, I think that's 47, I can't see, I got a crack right here. Salaki, let me get this. Yeah, Genesis chapter 41, verse 18 and 19. Specifically of beautiful form. So one way or the other, this is letting you know this is talking about a man. It says man of form. It's talking about physical appearance. Now let's get the word for black. or blacker. So we have the Hebrew word Strong's H2821, and we have the Cha, the Sha, and the Ka. So Chashak. Outline of biblical usage: to be or become dark, grow dim, be dark and be black, be hidden. To be or grow dark, to have a dark color, to grow dim, to make dark, cause to be dark, to hide, conceal, to obscure, confuse, figuratively. Right, so this word can be used figuratively and literally. All right. And once again, like the elder Karate Zabah said in his video from earlier, we've never seen any so-called white person turn black. All right. And this right here was talking about, once again, how our visage was blacker than a coal. They are not known in the streets. Their skin cleaveth to their bones. It is withered. It has become like a stick. Now, when Jake is either in the sun, or if Jake is hungry and starving, our skin becomes blacker. It darkens. Okay. And this is letting you know that, once again, it's talking about a physical thing, because it says they're not known in the streets. Their skin cleaveth to their bones. It is withered. It has become like a stick. And, like people say, oh, my ribs is, your ribs touching. When people become hungry and they start becoming emaciated, all right, their skin, it cleaves to their bones. You can start to see the ribs through their skin and so forth and so on. All right. And they are not known in the streets, That can be applied to how, once again, like we say, black means void of light. And it also gets into obscuring something. And this Hebrew word, chashak, it got into that as well. And once again, by going under the southern kingdom, the tribes of Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, going under the bywords of being black, predominantly the tribe of Judah, that's a way of obscuring us. All of the bywords that have been put on all 12 tribes, all of our people have been obscured by these bywords, where people don't even believe that we're the true biblical Hebrew Israelites. Okay? So another reason why we keep saying that you black only Israelites are going to be destroyed. Because the light is being shined on you, but you just can't let black go. You think that black is your nationality because it's been attached to you for so long. You've gone through much hell with it. Now you got Stockholm syndrome, or you feel like black is your best buddy that you shared a foxhole with. Just let that shit go, man. We're not black. We are different shades of brown. And even with that, that doesn't limit our people. Our people can't be put into a box. Wherever our men put their seed, you got more Israelites. You have Israelites coming back looking like Edomites, Moabites, Ammonites, Ishmaelites, Canaanites, Philistines, Egyptians, Cushites, Puttites, you name it. Different types of Japhites, so forth and so on. So you can't put our people in a box. And even right here with all this, all this blackity black stuff, Jake still deals with heathen women. Even Jake in the world still deals with heathen women. They're not even aware that the children that they made are still Israelites. They're just speckled bird Israelites. Now, one last thing I'm going to do, and I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to get Lamentations chapter 4 in this great Bible translation. So, Lamentations chapter 4. And I'm going to get right back to the point at verse 7. And it reads, her abstainers or Nazarenes were whiter than snow or milk. Their color was fresh, reed as coral. They're between like the sapphire. Oh, their beauty like the sapphire. Salakia. That old English spelling is kind of new for me. Verse 8. But now their faces very black, and so much that thou shouldest not know them in the streets. Their skin cleaveth to their bones. It is withered and become like a dry stalk. Okay. So once again, talking about Nazarites, and that's why I say it's abstainers, because Nazarites, they were set apart by the Nazarite vow. All right, but let's see what else I wanted to get. All right, so got rubies. See, got raw rubies right here. Okay, and what does that look like? Looks just like the skin tone of a Jake. And, through the spirit, it looks like it's the hand of a Jake holding these rubies up. See? And I made sure to get it raw, so, that's apparently how they look when they raw. Before they get refined, so forth and so on. Here's another picture of them. All right. And we got sapphires raw. Rough pieces of sapphire. All right. So yeah, man, the point's been made. You know, Esau's full of shit. And you got to study to show yourself approved. Oh, here's another one right here. Some raw sapphire. All right, let me get it. Oh, that's it right there. But yeah, the point's been made. All right, you know, just wanted to put that new little resource out there. Okay, I had to look into it because, you know, they was mentioning, well, it's been mentioned by the elders and apostles that, you know, about the other Bibles that were written before the 1611 King James, so forth and so on. And, you know, the different eras and time periods of translations is real important. You know, one of the main reasons we use the 1611 King James, okay, is because the Apocrypha is in it, okay? And, you know, depending on who wrote the Bible and what was taken out, so forth and so on, it helps more edification come out. So that's what I wanted to get into with this epistle. Salaki if it ran on too long, but that was the spirit. Hopefully this lesson was edifying and exhorting to the elect of the nation of Israel, to the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel. Once again, I give all praises, honor, and glory to our beloved Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son, our beloved Lord and Savior, Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Harachak Wadash. Double honors as always to our apostles and our elders of Great Millstone, who rule well, who teach well, who we learn the truth from daily, whether you're here for bear. And the sincere salutations as always to the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel, which consists of our sincere elders and Akim of Great Millstone and the Akim on down that teach the likewise doctrine. The Akim that are believers in Yahweh Shai Shai and rehearse the righteous acts. The speckled bird Hebrews are like foreigners scattered among the heathen that like the heathen. And the sincere Akwathium of the nation of Israel, which is to say the sincere sisters of the nation of Israel, listening in silence and meekness, as the scriptures command to do so. Kwam Yasharala and Abba Babal. We're almost out of here. Adawan Ratazah. And we got next Adawan Ratazah. Shema, Yasha'Allah, Yahawah, Alahayanawa, Yahawah, Achad. Wa, Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Baba Kusha, Baba Kusha, Baba Kusha. Shalach Rayam, Wa Ainashim, Wa Haragium, Wa Ashim, Wa Abadium, Wa Mashapatium, all call Adawamium, Wa Gawayim, Wa Ayabium Nawa, Wa Babal, Wa Babal, Wa Babal, Wa Babal. Aitha, Tawada, Damyat, Tawab, Aman. Shalom.